Nithyanandam, guys! Welcome back to the Kundalini Yogini. This is Prasiddha. Thank you guys so much for bothering to watch my video and taking time out of your day. If you haven't yet subscribed, make sure to do so that we can grow and consciously live better together every single day. So today I just wanted to kind of have a sharing time with you guys about something which has been weighing on my mind and heart, and I wanted to talk about with you guys today. And if any of you guys follow me on my Instagram, which I'll link right now, I just did a live, my first and only Instagram live video a week or so ago about this topic, but I know a lot of you guys don't follow me there, so I really wanted to share again on the importance of present moment living. Now, I can share from my personal experience. This is something which I greatly overlooked. It's like you hear about it in all types of spirituality, and I know some of you guys might not have even clicked this video because it seems like, oh, I already know what she's going to talk about. I've heard it before. And that's true to some extent, right? Like, this is a concept of mindfulness, of living in the present that has become really popular in a lot of different spiritual paths and religions, but man, when it really hits you, you really realize that how much of your suffering relates directly to your understanding of this concept and your ability to live it in your day-to-day life. And so I wanted to just share the clicks that I got about it with you guys, and hopefully they help you spark at least some thought about this topic, and hopefully help you guys to start integrating and thinking about these things in your life. So long story short, I actually have been reading The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and I know a lot of you guys might have read it. It's an amazing, very popular book written by somebody who is basically this Canadian guy who became enlightened in this crazy story that he had of being in deep depression and then all of a sudden waking up one day enlightened. And a lot of his book, I noticed, is focused about present moment living, and it is literally the power of now. And I didn't read this book, actually, to be honest, for a long time, specifically for that reason. I thought that, oh, I've heard all that before, it's not really going to be anything I need to read. And man, I couldn't have been more wrong. Like, yes, of course, their concept I am familiar with, that's true, but the way that he frames it and the way that I'm able to digest it also, and remember how important it is to continuously live in this space is, wow, it's been really amazing to absorb this and to start re-implementing it in my day-to-day life. And I just had a huge click specifically about the power of the present moment in relation to our ego. Now, a lot of times we think that ego means selfishness. And I just wanted to share that this is not what the word really means in its spiritual essence. When we say ego, we mean the entire false self we have created. The self that we correlate to this body, this personality, this mind. The self that I consider, Prasiddha, that I once considered Jillian, who is, X, Y, and Z qualities, who is tall, who is skinny, who is brunette, who is, empathetic and likes to share and loves human connection, but can be, maybe bossy or whatever, all these things, right? All of these qualities, these ideas that I have of myself in my head, and all of those are your ego. So when I say ego, that's what I mean. It's not just your ego of being selfish or being centered in yourself. It's literally the entire creation of your self-identity. So how this relates to present moment living is fascinating to me, and the click that I had was specifically that a lot of times we think that we're living beyond our ego as we're on a spiritual journey. We feel really good. We might be not living selfishly, so we feel like we're doing good. We're living life for others in a lot of different ways, right? But the funny, tricky thing is this small thing matters so much, and that is any time that we're not living in the present moment, in the now, we are giving life to our ego. We are literally fueling our ego to exist. So basically if say you're working on your computer, okay? And in that moment, you're typing, you're doing a few other things, but you're thinking about the presentation that you have at work in a few hours, or you're thinking about what your plans are over the weekend, or you're thinking about the past, you're thinking about a past relationship you might have had, you're thinking about some memories of some person or place or thing. Now, the more that you become aware of your thoughts and what we call mindfulness, which is a terrible word because it's all about getting out of the mind, but the more that we're able to observe our thoughts, you'll notice how frequently we slip into this state. The more that you become conscious, the more you will see how often it happens. And whenever we are functioning in that space, which means that we are living in thought, which only exists in the past and in the future, that is drawing us away from what we're doing in this moment. That is taking us out of the now. And why this is so detrimental is that all of the things associated with the past and the future do not exist other than in your ego, in your false self. The past, whatever that you're remembering or, dwelling on about your past, has direct relation to fueling your idea of self, to the person that you have made yourself to be, or that others have made you to be, or both, and adding fire, adding fuel to the fire, I should say, right? It's like it's continuing that, it's allowing that ego to survive, because you're constantly painting this false idea of self based on all of these past experiences, when in reality, none of those things are you, and you are new every single moment. So whenever you're dwelling on these past things, all you're doing is fueling the false self. And then the same thing happens with the future. The future is the place of worry, fear, stress, anxiety. If you ever are in this state, pay strong attention to your thoughts, my friends, and you will notice immediately you are down a thought trend. You're literally in a thought current that it's like a flow. It continues, and it's like a vicious circle, never-ending circle, and it's always going to be related to the past, or specifically the future for stress, right? And so when you're thinking about all the things to come, that's drawing you away from what you're doing right now, which means that you are not functioning. Your whole self is not present in what you're doing. And this is a video for another topic for another video, but when you start to really analyze it from even a metaphysical or scientific or physics perspective, literally, you might have come to the conclusion, as I once did, that time does not exist. And time is a construct. It's a social construct of how we function in this material plane, right? In this human body. But as we know, as science has even told us, time does not actually exist. It only has relative existence. And so in that same frame, whenever we're not existing in the present moment, which is the only thing that exists, we are living in delusion. We're living in a false world. We're living in a false reality. It's like we're in a dream. And it's so fascinating to me to notice, the more that I have been noticing this in myself and bringing awareness to it, how often we're literally living in a dream, because we are doing something here with our body, but our mind is completely somewhere else. And it takes away so much of the beauty of life. It simply takes to be extremely blissful, to be extremely overflowing in gratitude and connection to life around you, is simply being present. When we actually pay attention to the things in front of us and the things around us, they're freaking amazing. Like, I know that sounds cheesy, but it's true. Like, I had a profound experience last week that I shared on Facebook and Instagram, that I think what you call it, from my understanding of my experience, was a Satori Moment, which is basically a glimpse of enlightenment, but it doesn't sustain, right? And so I had this experience for almost 14 or 15 hours straight, and it was such a profound experience, and there was nothing special that happened. There was nothing special that I thought about. There was nothing special I did in my day, but everything felt so miraculous, so special. And when I was in this space, it was like I finally saw how remarkable life was. Like, anything I looked at, the car, the clouds, the people that I met, the grass, the trees, the sounds I was hearing, the smells I was smelling, everything was just like bringing tears to my eyes because I was so much in just the present. There was absolutely no thoughts entering my mind. And so it was really like one of those moments I'll never forget, one of those experiences I'll never forget. And it wasn't the first time I've experienced it, but I have to say it's probably the longest it's ever lasted. And so to be in that state for an entire day, it made a profound impact on me, specifically in realizing that is the key. All it takes is for us to shut down those thoughts, or at least be aware of them and be the observer of them. It's much harder to forcibly stop our thoughts and emotions, but if we can understand that they aren't us and just make the step of separating ourselves as the observer of what's happening to our body, what's happening in our mind, we can enter into remarkable states of consciousness that are ultimately they're our natural state, and they are accessible to each and every one of you just as easily as it happened to me. It can happen to you. I did nothing. It was literally just a blessing from existence. I consider it a blessing from my guru, Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, just to get a glimpse of that oneness space with all of life. And I hope that I can continue to more and more live this in my life. I'm really doing my best to be consciously aware of where my thoughts are and being completely involved in whatever it is I'm doing, whether it's sweeping the floor, washing my hands, washing dishes, small things that we sometimes are annoyed with or take for granted, or thinking about whatever else we'd rather be doing, but just doing whatever I'm doing. And so I just wanted to share this with you guys. I think I'm going to make another video all about my oneness experience so I can talk about it a little more in detail and share more with you guys. So anyways, that's my rant for today. Thank you guys so much for listening as always. Be blissful, guys.